The clock struck midnight, and the room was cloaked in silence, broken only by the faint hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. Emma sat at her desk, her face illuminated by the soft glow of her computer screen. The cursor blinked on an empty document, taunting her. Why can't I do anything right? The thought echoed through her mind, relentless and loud. Her room was a mess, a tangle of clothes she'd promised herself to fold, empty coffee mugs collecting dust, and notebooks sprawled across her bed. Each item seemed to scream at her, accusing her of her failures. She sighed, dropping her head into her hands. Emma didn't know when it had started, this gnawing voice in her head that constantly whispered, "You're not enough." Maybe it was years ago when her parents would compare her to her older brother, Alex, the golden child who excelled in academics, sports, and life itself. Or perhaps it was when she failed her first college exam, watching her friends breeze through their courses while she struggled to keep up. "I hate myself," she whispered, the words tasting bitter on her tongue. It wasn't a dramatic statement meant for attention or sympathy. It felt like the truth, the only truth she could cling to. She hated her reflection in the mirror, the way her hair refused to cooperate, the dark circles under her eyes, the curve of her body. She hated the way her voice trembled when she spoke in public, the way her mind blanked during important conversations. She hated that she couldn't seem to fix herself, no matter how hard she tried. Emma had always been the quiet type, the one people overlooked at parties or forgot to invite in the first place. She used to tell herself she didn't mind. After all, she enjoyed reading, writing, and solitary walks in the park. But as the years went on, the solitude turned sour, morphing into loneliness that she couldn't shake. Her best friend, Lily, had moved to another city last year, and though they promised to stay in touch, the calls grew fewer and farther between. Emma didn't blame Lily. She was busy with her new job, her new friends, her new life. Emma, on the other hand, was stuck, working a dead-end job she despised, barely making rent, and drowning in a sea of insecurities. One evening, after another particularly bad day at work, Emma found herself scrolling through social media. Her feed was a highlight reel of everyone else's happiness, engagements, promotions, vacations, and smiling faces. She felt like an outsider looking in, as though everyone else had cracked the code to life, while she fumbled in the dark. The thought hit her like a freight train. What if I wasn't here anymore? The next morning, Emma sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the bottle of pills in her hand. She had picked it up from the pharmacy the week before for her persistent migraines. The little capsules seemed like an escape, a way out of the pain that had taken root deep inside her. But as she unscrewed the cap, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. She hesitated, her fingers trembling as she picked it up. It was a text from Lily. "Hey, just wanted to check in. I've been thinking about you. How are you?" Emma stared at the screen, tears blurring her vision. She hadn't heard from Lily in weeks, and the simple message felt like a lifeline. Her thumb hovered over the keyboard, unsure of what to say. Finally, she typed, "I'm not okay." Lily called within seconds. "Emma, what's going on?" Her voice was filled with concern, and for the first time in months, Emma let the dam break. She sobbed into the phone, spilling everything: the self-hatred, the loneliness, the overwhelming feeling of failure. Lily listened without interrupting, her voice steady and reassuring when she finally spoke. "You don't have to go through this alone," Lily said. "Promise me you'll see someone. A therapist, a counselor, anyone who can help. Please." Emma nodded, even though Lily couldn't see her. "Okay," she whispered. The first therapy session was the hardest. Emma sat in the sterile office, her arms crossed tightly over her chest as she avoided eye contact with Dr. Patel, the kind-eyed therapist who greeted her with warmth. "I don't even know where to start," Emma admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "Start anywhere," Dr. Patel encouraged. "There's no right or wrong way to do this." As the weeks went by, Emma began to unpack the layers of her self-loathing. She learned to question the harsh inner critic that had taken residence in her mind. Dr. Patel helped her see that her worth wasn't tied to her productivity or the approval of others. It was a slow, painful process, but for the first time in years, Emma felt a glimmer of hope. One evening, Months later, Emma sat at her desk again, but this time, the document on her screen wasn't blank. She was writing a blog post, something she hadn't done in years. The title read, "You're Not Alone: My Journey Through Self-Hatred." As she typed, she poured her heart onto the page, sharing her darkest moments and the steps she was taking toward healing. She didn't know if anyone would read it, but that didn't matter. For once, she felt like her words had value, like she had value. When she hit publish, she closed her laptop and stood by the window, looking out at the city lights. The voice in her head was still there, but it was quieter now, less cruel. "I don't hate myself," Emma said softly, testing the words. They felt foreign but not impossible. For the first time in a long time, she believed she could learn to love herself.